And in our politics panel, one of the only shows on television that brings on a Republican and a Democrat. And we let them mix it up. Neither one of them is getting paid to take a beating like you see on all the other mainstream channels. These are real guys who know where the rubber meets the road, and they've been in the trenches. They know where the bodies are buried. And joining me today, Steve Levy, Scott Levenson. Both been on the show before. Our Sunday show, What's the Deal? Steve, Scott, thank you very much for joining us today. In the politics panel, what we do is this. I throw a topic out there, and then you guys just shake it up, okay? And I try to stay out of it, like McLaughlin style. So, Steve, Scott, we're talking about Biden, talking about unity. Trump's out there talking crap about every one of the candidates. I think he might be a little concerned about Trump, but Biden, Trump, Scott, take the first question. What do you think?
Listen, Biden's had a great rollout with a great message where he's capturing the older mainstream Democratic voters and speaking to this need to unite behind beating Trump for president. Simultaneously, you had Bill de Blasio launching his presidential campaign, which is making that progressive voice a constant undercurrent. And he's got a real story to tell. So that's a pretty broad net for the Democrats. And I think the observation that was most held this week was whoever comes out of this brawl is going to be a strong, well-seasoned candidate who's gone through battle after battle after battle to survive.
Steve, there's going to be a food fight on the left. Okay, you're going to have the progressives against the centrists. Biden's trying to be a centrist to talk about unity and love. Can they recover from a food fight to mount the campaign against the sitting president?
Well, whoever comes out of that primary is going to be black and blue, John. I'll tell you that. Right now, it's all kumbaya. But those, the battle will be waged, and the numbers that you're seeing right now with Biden at 39% or so, that's going to drop precipitously.
Steve, actually, I have to tell you, I don't necessarily see it as black and blue as much as an opportunity to showcase what differentiates us from the president. The fact is, whether it's student loans or the environment or the long-term growth of our nation, making America great again is really going to be on the Democratic side.
If you don't think, Scott, that these guys are going to be at each other's throats, come on, you've been around politics for too long. There's no question it's going to happen. You basically have three lanes in the party there. You have Biden, who's going to try to occupy the safe establishment lane.
Right.
You got Bernie, who's going to be in the energized ideological base. But watch out for Kamala Harris, who's going to occupy the identity politics base.
I think we're missing
Scott's
it.
the CEO and founder of the Advance Group, and they like to stay in that center lane. You're not controversial. Or
No, not at all. But the truth of the matter is we're going to spend months now on the Democratic side debating how to provide affordable, quality health care. And that is going to be one of the things that in every debate is a discussion. We're going to be presented with a host of different views on how to get to quality, affordable health care.
They're going to be
but the
debating
truth is the contrast is going to be clear to the voters because the Republicans are never talking about
the big race right now
healthcare.
is who can go so far to the crazy left as to outflank the next one. It's now becoming a party of ninth-month abortions, sanctuary cities.
Allowing illegal aliens to vote.
Sanctuary cities.
Now we're talking.
Allowing felons to vote in jail while still in jail. The big battle is who can top the next one on craziness. OAC is running that party right
only
now.
in the first 7 minutes, they got nothing left.
Why?
At some point, creating fear in the electorate. I have to tell you, this third trimester abortion rap that's seeping through the discourse over the last week is one of the most disgusting things you see out there. No woman is asking for third trimester abortions, and no doctor is performing third trimester.
That's absolutely false.
Fear. It's false. Steve, did you just say there were thousands of things of people who by choice,
I have my own views on this, but in North
No,
choice.
scare
They can,
tactics.
they're
It's
allowing
the politics of
they're
fear.
allowing post-birth abortions in North
Post-birth
Carolina.
abortions? That's
Yes,
tricky.
That's what they said. They
Post-birth
said-
abortions, that's
right.
tricky.
That's
If they're
true.
not happening, you don't need all these bills as we had in Virginia and elsewhere to codify it to happen. So you can't have it both ways. You
No,
can't
you
say
can
it's not
actually have
happening
it.
and
You
then say we
can.
need the bills
No,
to
it's
assure
not
it
the
keeps
codified
happening,
doesn't mean
Scott.
that it's happening. You said just
Then
said
why go through the
thousands. You
bills?
just said thousands.
It's
It's not true. It's fear tactics, Steve.
To
It
have
is.
legislation,
Listen,
and I'm pro-choice.
So
I'm
if you're pro-choice, let's keep it at that.
But listen,
Let's
but,
not
But most
invade
people
Roe
who are
v. Wade.
pro-choice are also
No one
rational. When
is
you say
fighting for
it's
third
all right to have
trimester abortions. It's
ninth
just
month
fake.
abortions,
It's
and
fake.
that's a choice, that's
It's
where you
fake.
get into crazy land where
It's
you
fake.
lose the mainstream, main part of America.
No one's arguing. for
You
that.
know what? I just had a meatball because there's no popcorn
Oh,
here, but
listen,
you
where
guys
is
are
the
here. You
meatballs?
got-
I don't have a
Dig in.
plate, a fork, nothing.
Come on, we put the toothpicks in there.
I'll
You guys
spill
have
it
a-
on my
have a
shirt,
meatball.
knowing me. I
Okay,
ain't
No,
gonna
don't
wait
do
till
that.
we're
that
off
end
air.
well. That just doesn't end well.
The important thing is, on this show, we try to give both points of view, and I appreciate you guys' energy. You're talking about thousands and hundreds and all this other stuff. We had on the deputy opinion editor from the Wall Street Journal on Friday, and he was pro-life, okay? But he was saying, it's, some people want abortions anytime, some people want no abortions. And the real argument is it 4 months, is it 6 months? So no one can win this until someone, in my view, determines when is that a human, okay? And then it deserves
No,
rights as far as I'm
viability of
concerned.
the fetus
And my
is a
opinion is
legitimate-
the government should stay out of women's wombs, but let's decide if we're going to give illegal immigrants rights to
That's
vote
not a
and to go to
typical-
college for free.
Listen, but
when does a
keeping-
fetus get some rights?
But keeping government out of women's wombs is not a typical Republican position.
I'm not a Republican.
Who are constantly trying to invade women's right to choice over what goes on in their bodies. And they do so by throwing out fear and scare tactics like ninth-month abortions when it really obscures the real issues that you're raising, John.
Well, the interesting thing here, John, is that the Republicans had the political high ground on this because of what was happening in Virginia and all. But they've got to be careful because what you see happening out of Alabama right now is now looking to mainstream that it's going too far on the right. The Republicans do not want to have a referendum on abortion in 2020.
No.
You want it to be about the economy, which is a white-hot economy, the best economy
is,
we've
again,
seen
so
in generations.
That's true.
Stay focused.
Going back to my original point, every one of the debate issues that are being discussed on policy is good for the Democrats. Whether it's health care, student loans, infrastructure, every one of those issues break the Democratic way.
Listen, all Republicans have to do is say, you had 8 years, Mr. Biden, to do all these things you want to do. We had growth at 1.6%. We had wage stagnation. A new guy comes in, puts through a tax cut, and we've got the hottest economy we've seen where people are seeing
Well,
a difference in their
Obama
lives.
Nobody's feeling
Obama
it.
said
Oh,
we
they
can never
are.
get back to
Nobody's
3%
feeling it.
growth. Donald Trump
Right.
thinks he's going to wave a magic wand. Well, somewhere or another, whether it was Stephen Moore or
problem
Larry
is it's
Kudlow, he
growth
found
for
the magic
elites,
wand
John.
because
the
we're
problem
at
is it's growth for the
3.2.
elites. It's not growth. You're
It's
not
not
saying
growth.
It's
fake growth.
80%
You're
of
seeing
the people
growth
got
for the
got
elites, but you're
tax
not
breaks.
seeing anybody on the lower end of
Nonsense.
the economic spectrum
Scott,
feeling the benefits
I know
of
how
this.
smart you are.
No,
You're
the
saying
truth
GDP is
I'm
determined by
saying that-
elites
No,
seeing
I'm
growth.
saying
That's
that
everyone. That's
Wages
everyone.
are
Yeah,
rising
employment.
mostly for
I'm
the
saying-
working
no,
class.
that's not true,
It
Steve.
absolutely is.
It's
You don't know
raise,
your
the raise.
facts.
No, the raise is
That-
coming from the elites.
No,
You're
no,
seeing
no,
the
no.
increase in
Across
jobs
the
is
board and
across
primarily in the working
$15
class
workers.
because
$15
manufacturing
workers.
is
And
back
you know what
now
$15
stronger than
workers?
ever thanks to those
Listen,
tax cuts.
Manufacturing.
Absolutely.
Oh, man, we got a
Manufacturing.
3-to-1 trade
Absolutely.
deficit. We got a
That
3-to-1
one has
trade
nothing to do with the
deficit.
other. Come on, you know
Come
better than
on,
that.
man.
You know,
If you
you
don't
gotta know
cost of
about
goods,
economics
has nothing to
here.
do with the trade deficit. Come on.
There were we
You
were
see 3-to-1
losing
against
manufacturing
China.
jobs under
3-to-1
Obama. We
against China.
gained
How do you
manufacturing
defend
jobs
that?
when
They're gonna
Obama
keep
said it was
arguing.
impossible
We're
to
going to take a
happen.
quick break. A little word from our sponsors.